Manchester United are, without a doubt, one of the biggest clubs in the history of football. From the Busby Babe to the Fergie era, the Red Devils have enjoyed decades of dominance with the help of Eric Cantona, Paul Scholes, George Best and Roy Keane, to name a few great icons. But as the famous saying goes, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And Manchester United have been falling since 2005. Why 2005? Well, in 2005, three major events took place. Steve Chen, Jawed Karim, and Chad Hurley launched YouTube, Hurricane Katrina rocks the United States of America, and the Glazers purchased Manchester United for £790 million, the beginning of the end for Manchester United. I could write an hour-long video going over everything the Glazers have ever done wrong since the takeover, but this is not a video detailing the many failings from the Manchester United ownership, no. This is in fact an attempt at detailing the sensational rise and the sudden downfall of Jadon Sancho. Before I get into that, I would just like to quickly remind you that I'm running a giveaway with ownasaber.com, where at 15,000 subscribers, I'll be giving away 3 King of London lightsabers. All you need to do to enter is subscribe to the channel and check the pinned comment down below for more information. And with that, on with the video. I think a good place to start when trying to understand how recent events transpired is to get to know the ins and outs of Jadon Sancho, why he rose to fame, what makes him tick. Jadon Sancho was born on the 25th of March 2000 in Camberwell, England, an area located just south of the famous River Thames in London. The young Jadon would spend most of his childhood living in Kennington, South London, where he would meet fellow England footballer and Arsenal player Reiss Nelson. The pair met at football youth tournaments and hit it off from the very start. Growing up, Jadon Sancho was obsessed with football, taking every opportunity to kick a ball. In an interview with Goal, Jadon said, "I've always wanted to be a footballer, make people watch me and say, whoa. Like how I used to watch Ronaldinho and go, wow, I want to be like him one day." This drive for greatness made Sancho a standout figure in his community, even at a very young age. His talent radiated off of him. During his childhood, Jadon was surrounded by crime and people who, given the opportunity, could lead you down a rough path in life given the chance. Jadon found an escape from this darkness with the Adventure Playground, an area described by Norman Dawkins, Jadon's old football coach, as a place for children who need somewhere to play and feel safe. Jadon loved the Adventure Playground, mainly for its five-a-side pitch, where the youngster could wow his friends with tricks and slick footwork. Rio Ferdinand was once a regular at the Adventure Playground, meaning Dawkins had seen real talent and knew how to spot it. He saw this within Jadon from a very young age. In fact, Norman Dawkins had embedded himself into the community through his work with the academy, picking up the nickname of Uncle, as many of the youngsters saw the academy as a family. They could go to Hawkins with their issues and problems knowing he would look out for them. This kind of guidance is a big factor into the type of person Jadon Sancho is today. I mentioned earlier Dawkins had seen real talent and knew it when he saw it, and this was backed up by the coach when he said, the way he played football, he was ahead of a lot of people in his age group. Jadon looked like he had played football forever. He could take on older boys and men. He did things that were crazy with the ball. In the same interview, Hawkins would go on to reveal he believes he is the cause for Jadon's tenacity and winning drive, citing, "Jadon never liked losing. That's partly my fault, I think," before saying, "I used to drill the mentality into them that when we went to tournaments, we were there to win, not participate. This type of mentality is pivotal to true success, especially as a footballer. Football is cutthroat. Having a winner's mentality helps drive young players into working hard every day in training, pushing yourself to the limit." When he was just 7 years old, Jadon Sancho signed for his very first team, Watford. Seeing as Watford is north of London and Jadon lived in South London, the youngster was forced to seek accommodation nearer the training ground, provided by Watford. He continued to train and play for the Watford youth sides, whilst attending Watford's partner school Harefield Academy. As you can imagine, Jadon wasn't the best student. His love and obsession of football drove Sancho to easy distraction, often being caught watching highlights of Ronaldinho and Neymar in class, desperately trying to learn something from the Brazilian greats. Jadon would emulate their entertaining style of football, wowing spectators and embarrassing defenders with nutmegs and quick footwork. He was living the dream. In March of 2015, when he was just 14 years old, Jadon Sancho made the first big move of his career when he joined Manchester City's academy for an initial £66,000 fee, which could rise to £500,000 with add-ons. The Englishman would once again wow spectators, including Manchester City's chairman, Khaldoon Al-Mubarak, who decided to fast-track Sancho's development and introduce Sancho to senior football at the age of 16. However, trouble in paradise arose when Jadon Sancho omitted himself from the club's USA preseason season tour in 2017. By this point, Jadon had been training with the senior side under Pep Guardiola. However, he had decided his future and personal development was at risk as a result of the lack of playing time awarded to the youngster. At the time, Sancho had been fighting for playing time against the likes of Raheem Sterling, Leroy Sané, Bernardo Silva, Sergio Aguero, and Gabriel Jesus. Such fierce competition forced the 16-year-old Sancho to make a decision, and make it he did. On the 31st of August 2017, Jadon Sancho would sign for a club he went on to shape his destiny and showcase his talents to the world: Borussia Dortmund. His new club offered Sancho exactly what he wanted: first team football. A lot of 16-year-olds would have found the entire move to be rather daunting, moving to a brand new country, new culture, new language to play football in front of thousands of people each week. Jadon did reveal he struggled with learning German and that he missed his family. However, his move from South London to Watford at such a young age helped a lot with the process. He was already well versed in acclimatising to new surroundings, which helped him settle into the side. Dortmund put a lot of faith into their new acquisition, seeing him as the replacement for the newly departed French winger Ousmane Dembele, a big pair of boots to fill, and fill them he did. For his first season, he wasn't forced into the side, but he still made numerous Bundesliga appearances, 12 in total, 7 of which he started. It was against Bayer Leverkusen on the 21st of April 2018, where Jadon Sancho would really impress the world, scoring once and assisting twice against the German side. Bear in mind, Jadon Sancho had only just turned 18 and was already displaying signs of being a great world-class player. It would be in the 18-19 Bundesliga season where Jadon Sancho would explode in popularity, becoming an immediate name on the team sheet whilst picking up 13 goals and 20 assists in 43 games for Borussia Dortmund. The world honoured him with the moniker Assist King. His unselfish nature, along with his brilliant footwork and footballing mind, made Jadon Sancho the dream teammate. You could always rely on Jadon Sancho to pull something magnificent out of the hat when needed. In terms of versatility during the 18-19 season, Sancho had bucket loads. He's more than comfortable playing on the left-hand side or on the right, depending on what his manager demanded. That season, Sancho attained a percentile ranking in the 90th percentile and above for non-penalty goals, shot-creating actions, pass completion, progressive carries, and progressive passes received, along with a 99th percentile ranking in 2 stats: assists and successful take-ons. He was a master at getting past defenders with the ball through his elite dribbling skills. Skills he would have picked up playing in the confined streets of London against friends. I can't exaggerate just how good Jadon Sancho was. He was playing at a level you would expect from a well-versed veteran. He really had it all: elite crossing ability, he was great on set pieces like corners, an eye for goal, and no pressure. He was just enjoying himself, doing what he does best. His output for the team helped Dortmund reach second in the league, just 2 points behind eventual winners Bayern Munich. His partnership with players like Marco Reus was one of the most feared in the league, but it wouldn't be Sancho's only partner up front. His incredible form in his first full season is highly impressive, which is why I find it even more incredible he managed to one-up his game in the 1920 campaign. Yes, in the season where Dortmund released their famous Blackout limited edition kit, Jadon Sancho equaled his 20 assists from the last season, whilst at the same time adding 20 goals to his resume, equaling 40 goals and assists in 44 appearances for Borussia Dortmund across all competitions, including the Champions League, where he picked up a clean goal against Barcelona. The world was at his feet. He was a defender's nightmare. Sancho had the unique ability of sending players with body feints and lightning fast turns. It was like he was telepathic. He knew exactly when to make his move to burst past on goal. Sancho decided to sign a new contract with Borussia Dortmund following his stand-up performance against Bayern Munich in the DFL Super Cup, picking up a goal and assist in the process. Jadon's performances didn't go unnoticed, with the Englishman coming second in the annual Copper Trophy, an award given to the best under 21-year-old player in the world, the eventual winner being Matthijs de Ligt. By the end of the season, Sancho had done enough to rank himself in the 98th and 99th percentile for non-penalty goals, assists and passes attempted. At the same time, he ranked in the mid to high 90s for expected assisted goals, pass completion, progressive carries and successful take-ons. What these statistics tell us is that Jadon Sancho played an integral role in the attacking play of Borussia Dortmund, attempting over 63 passes per 90, with many of them progressing the play towards goal. With 0.67 non-penalty goals per 90, Sancho was averaging a goal every other game, a stat one would expect from a world-class striker, not a young winger. Speaking of world-class strikers, on the 3rd of January 2020, Jadon Sancho was gifted a new partner in the attacking line: Erling Haaland. Pairing the assist king with the player of the quality of Erling Haaland was nothing short of a recipe for success. This duo became one of the most feared in the footballing world. Jadon Sancho's final season at Borussia Dortmund went quite the same as the previous years, picking up 36 goals and assists in 38 games across all competitions. Not too shabby. He continued to excel in his creative output and helped his team win the 2021 DFB Polka Cup final against RB Leipzig, scoring 2 goals in the process. With all said and done, Jadon Sancho, after 3 seasons, had cemented himself as one of the best young players to come through Borussia Dortmund, a club known for its development of world-class talent. After 137 professional appearances for the German side, Sancho had accumulated 50 goals and 64 assists in total. Of course, all great things must come to an end, and on the 1st of July 2021, it was announced that Jadon Sancho would be leaving Borussia Dortmund after the English winger had signed for Manchester United. Jadon's move to Manchester United was one of the worst kept secrets in world football. The English club had been after Sancho for quite some time, having failed to agree a deal with Dortmund the previous season. However, United eventually paid up and Dortmund pocketed €85 million from the whole ordeal. The United fan base were excited, optimism grew. This was our year. Unfortunately for Sancho, his first season in a United shirt was one to be forgotten, scoring 5 and assisting just 3 goals in 38 appearances for the Red Devils. A far cry from the Jadon Sancho who wowed spectators and made commentators gush with praise. The next season wasn't much better, 7 goals and 3 assists from 41 appearances. When you compare the level of output from his days at Dortmund and his nights at Manchester United, the difference is staggering, and the question remains, what caused this downfall? Well, this is something you can't determine from stats. A player's progressive passing metric isn't exactly the best metric as to determining how a player is coping mentally. When Sancho joined Manchester United, the amount of pressure that fell on his shoulders was staggering. Not only was his price tag enough to garner skepticism and doubters as to whether or not his price was a fair reflection of his product, but he was supposed to be the new star, the main man to take Manchester United out of the pits in which it had slowly but surely slumped into ever since 2005. Jadon Sancho had gone from a relatively comfortable life, being in the spotlight but not because of a price tag or a massive expectation for greatness. He was in the spotlight because of his raw talent and the way in which he was able to display it to the world with little to no effort. He was in his element. There are few players who could walk into that Manchester United dressing room and not be affected by the environment. Speaking of the dressing room, I believe it would be beneficial to point out the fact that Jadon Sancho was walking into a particularly toxic environment. You see, Jadon Sancho wasn't the only arrival to Manchester United that summer, as Cristiano Ronaldo made his return after leaving Juventus. Ronaldo's ego began to turn the locker room atmosphere sour, and Manchester United's poor start to the season, followed by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's sacking, left the club in a disjointed state. The arrival of Ralf Rangnick did little to help Sancho adjust to his new life. It didn't help when Marcus Rashford, a key figure within the Manchester United fold, actively filled the role playing as a left winger, which just so happens to be Sancho's best position. I would also like to point out in January of 2022, Jadon Sancho was left out of the squad due to a recent death and funeral of a family member. I don't know who passed away, nor is it any of my business, but I do believe this would have had some impact on his mental state. Not only was he struggling on the field, but to couple that with a death in the family, he would have been really struggling at this point. It wasn't long before the news stories began to emerge detailing Sancho's training ground mishaps, his lack of work ethic, and his poor timekeeping abilities. These traits may have been tolerated at Dortmund, where Sancho was providing enough to the team during match days that certain allowances were provided behind the scenes. But at Manchester United, you can't get away with that. When Erik ten Hag arrived, many hoped this would be a turning point for Jadon Sancho. New season, new manager, fresh start. This hope was quickly snuffed out as the Englishman failed to return to his Dortmund form, scoring just 2 goals and amassing 1 assist for the first 13 games of the 22-23 season. It was decided behind closed doors that a break was required, with Ten Hag stating Sancho wasn't physically or mentally ready to play, showcasing just how bad things were for Jadon Sancho behind the scenes. He would continue with individual training in the meantime, working hard to get back up to speed without the eyes of the public watching his every move. 3 months would pass before Jadon Sancho would reappear for the Red Devils, coming off the bench against Nottingham Forest in a cup tie, much to the delight of Sancho. Following his return, he put out a post which read, "Wow, just wanted to say a massive thank you to everyone for the support I've received over the past few weeks, especially to the fans. My focus is to give my all to the team and the club. I'm so happy to be back out on the pitch. See you soon." It seemed spirits were high in the Jadon Sancho camp. He was re-energized and ready to go, although again his form failed to improve following his return, picking up 4 goals and 2 assists in 16 league appearances, although in fairness he played a full 90 minutes only 3 times. The patience from Manchester United and the fans began to grow thinner and thinner by each day that passed. The club had invested a lot of time and money into bringing him into the side. They had supported him when he needed it most, but the performances failed to materialise. The boiling point was eventually reached following Jadon Sancho's omission from the squad that faced Arsenal on the 4th game week of this season. After the game, Ten Hag was questioned on this decision to leave Sancho out of the side, and in response he said this.
Samuel.
Sancho and McTominay weren't here, they both injured as well.
No, Scott is ill, and Jadon was on his performance on the training. We didn't select him.
So that he was that a form of discipline, would you say?
No, you have to reach a level every day on Manchester United, and we can make choices in the front line. And so for this game he wasn't selected.
What this implied is that, from Ten Hag's point of view, Sancho had failed to perform in training, had failed to show much effort, and so he made a very clear message. You are replaceable. As you can imagine, Sancho didn't like this, but nobody expected what would come next. At 29 past 8 on the 3rd of September, Jadon Sancho would release a statement via social media which reads, "Please don't believe everything you read. I will not allow people saying things that is completely untrue. I have conducted myself in training very well this week. I believe there are other reasons for this matter that I won't get into. I've been a scapegoat for a long time, which isn't fair. All I want to do is play football with a smile on my face and contribute to my team. I respect all decisions that are made by the coaching staff. I play with fantastic players and grateful to do so, which I know every week is a challenge. I will continue to fight for this badge no matter what." It's incredibly rare and somewhat ill-advised to put out a statement like this which directly undermines the manager's words. The only reason as to why I think Jadon Sancho put out a statement like this is out of pure desperation. He may have believed this was the only way to defend his reputation as a reliable footballer, insisting he is a hard worker in training and Manchester United's recent failures are as a result of other circumstances. I agree with the last point. To sum up the performances of late and the behind-the-scenes drama as a result of Jadon Sancho and the use of him as a scapegoat is wrong, and I defend Sancho on that. But overall, this statement has undeniably destroyed any chance of Jadon Sancho becoming a success at Manchester United. And maybe this was his plan all along, go out in a blaze of fury, so to speak. As mentioned earlier, the situation at Manchester United is rooted deep within the club, and there is a good chance Sancho has realised this and believes sabotaging his relationship with Manchester United is the only way out. No doubt Manchester United were looking for potential suitors for Sancho over the summer window. At one point it is reported Chelsea held an interest in Sancho and the Red Devils even offered him as part of a deal for Marc Cucurella, but nothing has transpired. The Saudi market is now closed, which leaves Manchester United and Sancho with 2 options. Terminate the contract now and remove £350,000 a week off of the wage bill, leaving Sancho as a free agent and able to sign for another club, or hold out until the January transfer window in the hopes the club will step forward with a decent offer. In my opinion, I believe it would be best for both parties for a complete and immediate contract termination. If he stays until the transfer window, that's minimum 3 months of football on the bench, training with the under-21s as to not pollute the already toxic dressing room. This will undoubtedly lower his value well below the €85 million United paid for him, to somewhere in the region of 15 to 25 million euros. From being one of the hottest prospects in world football to becoming a bench warmer in a struggling side, Jadon Sancho's career has taken a dramatic turn. But is there still a way back? In my opinion, absolutely. Jadon Sancho is still only 23 years old. The Sancho that mesmerised millions with his fancy footwork and unselfish creation is still there somewhere and can be unlocked through a return to the right environment. In all honesty, I think a move outside of the Premier League would be the best for his career. He would be somewhat away from the noise of the British press, whilst at the same time being given a second chance playing football in a, most likely, warmer climate in front of thousands of adoring fans who just want to see you play football. A return to the Premier League will always be an option. Who knows? Jadon has admitted on multiple occasions he grew up and still does support Chelsea, and named Frank Lampard alongside Ronaldinho as his biggest idols. One thing's for sure though, Jadon Sancho and Manchester United are done. And that's about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts on the whole Jadon Sancho situation? Where do you think he'll go next? Is there a player you would like me to do a similar breakdown for? As always, I'll be reading every comment and responding to as many as I can. I have been The Quick Take, and I'll catch you on the next one. See you later.